Welcome to a brand new show called Big Ten Under 10 on the Hoosier Network. My name is Graham Nash, he's Adam Oppenheim, and we will be your guides for everything Big Ten Conference. We'll be bringing you updates from every sport in the Big Ten, and each episode will be under 10 minutes long. There's two tiers once again for these teams. At the top, in the first tier, the West Coast teams, USC and UCLA. They have been fantastic. We kind of talked about with volleyball the speed of the Big Ten. The speed of the Pac-12 in soccer is unreal. That's exactly right. USC and UCLA, they play so fast, and they have total disregard for human life. They don't care how you like to play, what pace you move at. They move faster. And so I think for that reason, those two teams, they're going to dominate when it comes to the end. Dislike is not in the Big Ten. It's with Miami at 4. I don't really feel like they
played some close games.
They played some close games, and they've only played, one ranked team in the 25th Louisville Cardinals, I believe it was. So I'm not too happy with them at 4.
And is the strongest conference for women's basketball this year. I would almost guarantee it. UCLA lost a close one in New Mexico. But the Lobos, they're going to be a top 3 team in the Mountain West, so I really don't think that's a bad loss at all.
I think UCLA is a big one to talk about. 5th ranked in the country. They kind of take a back seat to USC, especially because of how good the Trojans are. But they played a Power 5 team. They played a team that we actually know the name of. So I think that's pretty important to note. And they killed Arkansas. So I think that UCLA, again, they kind of take a back seat to USC, even to some of these other Big Ten teams. But they're good. Don't sleep on the Bruins.
Soccer is so incredible because there's so many higher-ranked seeds and unranked teams who always make it far. Every single year a team makes a run. It's like March Madness for basketball, but even crazier at the men's soccer level.
Right now, it comes down to Purdue and Michigan State for me. The Boilermakers, they've got a little bit of a harder schedule than Michigan State coming down the stretch. So I think as far as win column goes, Michigan State has more likely of a chance to separate themselves that way. We spoke last week about how Purdue and Michigan State were the 2 teams to beat coming down the stretch in the Big Ten. Has that changed for you at all after these results?
I think it's got to be Dusty May's team in Ann Arbor.
How concerned are you for the Ohio State Buckeyes after their loss to Indiana?
I'm not really concerned, but that's because my expectations for them aren't super high. I don't think they're a top 5 team in college basketball. I think they're judged as a top 15 team, which means you have a sum of really good players, but you also have not a ton of depth. And that's what this Ohio State team has.
Do you think the championship game is going to be a third game between the Bruins and the USC Trojans?
Sadly, I do. And not because I don't like both these teams, but I like to see a little more variety. And these teams have been at 1 and 2 the entire year, but they also have the 2 best players in the conference.
Are you convinced that unranked Iowa are good enough to compete and be serious competitors in the Big Ten this year?
Absolutely, I think they can be serious competitors. I think they've shown that throughout the non-conference and working into the conference schedule. Will UCLA advance to the championship game?
I'm going to say no.
I'm
going to say no, and it comes down to which side has more star power. And you've got Lauren Betts, you've got Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers has recorded 3 straight 25-plus point games in the NCAA tournament. The only other player in history to do that is Caitlin Clark, who did in 2023 and 2024. She is putting up a historic run right now in the NCAA tournament. And the Bruins, who do you think is going to win that series?
I think I'm going to lean towards Oregon. They're at home, but the main thing I look at is starting pitching, and I think Oregon wins that battle.
Will they have the stuff to beat Indiana?
Well, I think, based on this last question, the question should be, will Indiana have enough stuff to beat Iowa? But as for the question that you said, Iowa will definitely have the arms and the hitters to compete with Indiana. Are they a level above the rest of the Big Ten?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that they are, and just because if you look at the stats, it's kind of unbelievable. Oregon is top 3 in nearly every major offensive stat category in the Big Ten, and then they have the best team ERA. They've got the 2nd most strikeouts and the best batting average against. They're just dominant. They're just good. They are a good team. As for Michigan, I think that they're definitely flying a little bit under the radar compared to some of the teams at the top like Oregon and UCLA. They kept it really close with a good Duke team who was ranked 8th at the time, but just couldn't quite get over the edge. So it's a little bit of the same thing to me. But there's a second tier of really talented teams. One, the undefeated Penn State Nittany Lions. They are fantastic.
But this USC team, they're so explosive. They're so fast. They can score. Their defense is hard to get through. There's so many reasons to like the Trojans. I would have to put USC 1 and then UCLA 2, two of the newcomers in the Big Ten. I mean, I never thought I would see a Minnesota women's basketball team be this good, but they're really impressive.
Yeah, I think number 2 for me is Iowa. The Hawkeyes are phenomenal. It's always kind of been Penn State and Iowa over the years, and Penn State has done a phenomenal job of separating, but I think Iowa is the number 2. They lost to Penn State 30-8. Of the traditional Big Ten teams, who do you think has the best chance to give those West Coasters a run for their money come Big Ten tournament time?
So I'm going to pick Maryland.
Which teams that don't have a double bye in the Big Ten tournament would you say has the best chance to maybe make a run and squeak past one of those USCs or UCLAs?
I think it's the Illinois Fighting Illini. They've allowed the fourth fewest points in the Big Ten. They won on the road versus Maryland earlier this season. The 1 seed is Michigan State, 2 is Maryland, 3 is Michigan, and 4 is UCLA. Besides those 4 teams, Graham, is there anyone else you think that could make a run and run the table in the tournament?
I think it would be Purdue if it were to be anyone.
6 seed?
Yeah, the 6 seed. Like you said, was projected to be the 1 seed. Is no longer because they didn't finish great. But the first thing that sticks out is West Lafayette is only an hour north of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. That's a pretty easy drive for very committed Boilermaker fans.
Or any other Big Ten team that you think could make a run?
I think Nebraska could be a sneaky team. We've got a 3-way tie right now for third in the Big Ten standings. It's Nebraska, Northwestern, and Ohio State. If you look at who those 3 teams have played, Nebraska is the only team that has played the other 2. The other 2 teams, Northwestern and Ohio State, have only played one of the 2 other teams. Nebraska, they swept Northwestern, and then they took 1 out of 3 from Ohio State. Well, Ohio State, the only other really good team they've played in the Big Ten is UCLA, and they got killed. So, based on our smaller sample size, I feel like Nebraska is the strongest. Am I a little too ambitious a moment ago when I said that Oregon could be the team to beat?
I think so. I mean, I'd still have UCLA over them, but it was an impressive win just a couple weeks ago against a ranked Missouri team.
Who do you think is most likely going to come out on top of the Big Ten this season in softball?
I think it's the UCLA Bruins. They made it very far in the World Series last year. Lost to Oklahoma 1-0, an Oklahoma team that three-peated. As for Penn State, they won against Washington, but it really doesn't matter because James Franklin lost 8 straight times against Ohio State. He's 1-9 versus top 5 teams in the AP poll. He just can't win the big games. So when you look at the Washington game, you're like, oh, yippee. You know, you beat the Washington Huskies team that lost nearly everyone from last year on a title contender team. James Franklin should be fired after this season. Cannot seem to win a big game. You have it in Happy Valley, a 10-0 lead after a pick 6. They have to win a big game. Now, once again, James Franklin, you only have those couple games in the Big Ten that you need to win, and he loses them every year. So, I mean, my opinion really doesn't change on him. He has a talented team. He's had talented players. I mean, you had Saquon Barkley play there, Micah Parsons. His teams have been good. His defenses have been top 5 in the nation pretty much year in and year out, but he just can't find a way to win the big game.
Adam, whoa, wait, where's... Oh, yeah! Adam's at the big screen. He's going to break down some film for us. Adam, what you got, man?
Absolutely horrible showing by the Buckeyes and head coach Ryan Day. 4 straight time losing to Michigan. This time, 3 touchdown favorites against a team who had a walk-on quarterback, was out there without their best corner, Will Johnson, without their best target, Colston Loveland. What is going on? I don't know how you lose that game, honestly. It is an absolute embarrassment for Ryan Day. And Jim Harbaugh said a few years ago that he was on third base, and wow, I mean, he moved back to second practically with that loss against Michigan. Instead, you call that toss play probably the worst play since, Super Bowl 49 when the Seahawks should have handed the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. I mean, that was a horrific call. So
it was.
That's what I would point to.
It just looks like the Hoosiers, they aren't decisive enough on the floor. There's so many instances where it gets down to the final seconds of the shot clock and someone has to heave. That is not going to bring a lot of success. It doesn't feel like they have a dependable player or play to go to when they need a bucket. And we pretty much saw exactly that against Maryland. 3 seconds. They had to get a high-quality 2. They were only down 1. They didn't even need a 3. And they got it to Miles Rice in the corner who was trapped, spun, and threw up a prayer. Like, that's just not going to work. So I...
9, 8. No one else has touched the ball.
contested shot. Yes, he was fouled on the play by Jakari Harris, but this is a smothered, contested shot. There is no room. And once again, look at the timeout situation for Indiana. 2 timeouts. I mean, what is Mike Woodson doing holding on to these timeouts? It makes no sense.
Are you worried about the direction of Brad Underwood's team?
I'm a little concerned. I wouldn't say I'm very concerned, but I'm not unconcerned. It's a weird spot.
Quickly pushes it up the floor. Not sure what all these Nebraska players are doing. It's like 4 Cornhuskers against 1 Golden Gopher.
About a couple of other teams, Illinois and Indiana, they had 2 games that were won by 9+ runs. What was going on in Champaign?
Bad pitching. Really poor pitching, if I'm being honest. Illinois walked 7 batters in Game 2. Indiana scored 12 in that game. Indiana walked 7 in Game 3, where Illinois went on and scored 15. Other than that, the pitchers were just leaving things atop the plate the entire series. OSU was 4-5 against Power 4 teams in pre-Big Ten Conference play. I think only 3 of those were ranked matchups as well.
But it's getting hot at the right time.
It is getting hot at the right time. It is getting hot at the right time.
Sway you.
No. I appreciate it. You're playing devil's advocate. You're on my shoulder,
Yeah.
You're just like whispering sweet nothings into my ear.
And lastly, of course, one more big thanks to our producer, Colin Dusek. This show would not have been possible without him.
Thank you guys so much. All the help, all the love, all the viewers. Love it, man. Great experience. It was a pleasure getting able to do it.
Well, we certainly do appreciate you. Colin.
Thank you,
little
Colin.
golf clap.
Thank you, Colin.
Well, Graham, you're going to be back with a new partner in the fall, but once again, for our producer, Colin Dusek, Graham Nash, I'm Adam Oppenheim, saying thank you once again for all the support on Big Ten Under 10. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at B1G_under10. And come back in the fall for our next episode of Big Ten Under 10.